Now a story that may amaze you and possibly disturb you, and you may not want the children to watch. A woman talking openly about the most private part of her body. She was born, shall we say, different, and she's not alone. There are thousands of others like her, and it is for their sake that she comes forward tonight. Lynn Schurer was a woman determined to change the way people with ambiguous gender are treated.
You are looking at a most unusual set of portraits. What do you see? A stylish young woman? A passionate male rock star? What if I told you that both images are the same person? Hida Valoria, who at 33 is not the least bit confused about her gender.
I'm female, yeah. I just feel like I'm a different variety of female.
What makes Hida different has nothing to do with the way she dresses or the way she acts. It's something much more intimate.
Tell me what you're comfortable saying about your body that makes you different.
Sure, I'm comfortable with that. My clitoris is much larger than I think the average size clitoris. And so because mine is larger, it's grown a little more to where it starts to resemble a small penis.
Hida had no idea she looked different from other little girls until she was 11.
I was with my best friend, and, I looked down as she was changing and saw her genitals. And so the first thing I thought was, where's her thing? Why is hers different?
What did you do with that information? Did you fret over it? Did you worry? Did you put it aside?
I completely put it aside.
But putting it aside was never an option for many other girls with bodies like Hida's. Like Hida, they are hermaphrodites, or using the more modern term, intersexual. In other words, a person who, because of genetics or hormones, is born with what are called ambiguous genitalia, neither clearly male nor female. Over the last 50 years, it's estimated that thousands of intersex girls have routinely undergone surgery as babies to remove or reduce an enlarged clitoris. Pediatric urologist Dr. Kenneth Glassberg of New York's Downstate Medical Center has performed dozens of operations on intersex children.
Tell me what it's like with the parents who have just given birth and found out their baby has genitals that don't look like what they're supposed to look like.
It's devastating to them. They're lost. The first thing that a parent is asked, is it a boy, is it a girl?
And to try to make the baby look more like a boy or a girl, Dr. Glassberg believes that cosmetic surgery should be done within the first year.
Why so soon?
We believe operating on the genitals in infants is psychologically better to do when the child is younger.
Do you believe that the surgery should be done fairly quickly for the parents or for the child?
I believe we are doing it for the child, but you cannot separate the child from the parents.
The American Academy of Pediatrics also believes early genital surgery may be best for intersex babies. But over the last 5 years, a storm of controversy has erupted over the ethics of that traditional medical practice. That's what this story is about. Some charge that the surgery is nothing short of mutilation. Yet Dr. Glassberg and others say they only operate out of compassion.
Do you think it's possible for an individual who's born with ambiguous genitalia to not have the surgery and then to go on and lead a normal life?
I think the individual who is not operated on will have problems in society as we know it today.
Hida, who never had any surgery, adamantly disagrees. She says her life, for the most part, has been just fine. As a child, she was popular, sociable, a tomboy who excelled at sports but never doubted she was a girl. After all, she got her period and knew she could have a baby someday.
So I shouldn't have this image of you skulking off in a corner, being lonely and isolated.
Oh, God. Actually, it's really, to be honest, the opposite.
To be fair, Hida did hit a rough patch when she became sexually active. First, she dated men, but then, like many but not all intersex women, she says she realized she was a lesbian. That's when she understood just how different her genitals were from other women's.
What made you suddenly say, whoa, what's going on here?
Everybody knows that, how penises function, but clitorises actually function the same way. And so for an enlarged clitoris, there's a pretty visible difference when you're being sexually active.
You essentially had an erection.
Yeah. Exactly. And I enjoyed that immensely, and so did my partners.
Still, she says she was mystified and wanted some answers.
Were there times when you said, am I a man? Am I a woman? Did you wonder?
I did kind of wonder if maybe I was male, but I knew that technically I wasn't.
Hita's confusion was painful but temporary. At 27, she figured it out. Far less traumatically, she says, than if she'd had surgery. She happened to see a newspaper article about intersexuals, a term she'd never heard before.
I was on the bus and I just remember being like, everything, like stopping, you know, and being like, oh my God, I think this is me. That was like the wonderful turning point for me because, you know, I was overjoyed to know what I was.
Hita's answer came from information, not the operating room. And it worked, she says, because the painful part wasn't her body, it was the mystery. She thinks intersexuals should be allowed to decide as adults if they want their genitals altered, not undergo operations as babies. That is also the opinion of a growing number of doctors, who think such surgery is about as medically necessary as a facelift. Dr. Bruce Wilson, a pediatric endocrinologist at Michigan State University, is one of those who changed his mind and has been leading the revolt.
We rarely hear a doctor in public say, I did the wrong thing.
Here we've heard more and more and more people coming forward saying, this hurt me, either physically, psychologically, or both.
His turning point was this video, Hermaphrodites Speak, in which intersexuals, many of them bitter, charge that early surgery damaged them.
At times, I feel like hiding in the closet because it's like, how can anybody accept somebody who's been this mutilated and this, you know, who can accept damaged goods?
What was your reaction to it?
I was blown away. There'd been all of this feeling that we were doing the right thing, and to hear a group of people saying, I don't have normal sexual response, I have painful sex because of the scar tissue, I feel completely asexual because of what was done to me. And you go back and you go, well, what did we really do with these kids?